December 8th, 2014 from Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin. It was Monday Night Football between the Atlanta Falcons and the Green Bay Packers. The Packers won the toss they elected to receive, so they would start with the ball first on their own 19. Then on 2nd and 4 from the 25, Lacy ran it 22 yards for the first down at the Green Bay 47. Lacy then picked up another 12 yards, and now it was a first down in Atlanta territory for the Packers on the Atlanta 41. Then on 2nd and 4 from the 35, Aaron Rodgers went to Jordy Nelson. He picked up 10 yards on the first down that brought the ball to the 25. Rodgers then went to Jordy Nelson once again, this time for a 22-yard reception that made it 1st and goal on the 3. They handed off to Starks out of the shotgun, all this in the no huddle, and it was a touchdown, a 3-yard touchdown run for James Starks. So now the Packers are on the board first with the score: Green Bay 7, Atlanta 0. That would be the first of many. So now the Falcons would have the ball on their own 28 to start their first possession of this game. Steven Jackson ran for 10 yards and a first down to bring the ball to the 38. They were then faced with a 3rd and 4 from the 44. And out of the no huddle in the shotgun, Matt Ryan went to Roddy White. He picked up 12 yards in the first down that brought the ball across midfield into the Green Bay 44 for the first down. Ryan then went to Julio Jones for a 19-yard reception that brought the ball to the Green Bay 25 for a first down. Then on 3rd and 7 from the 22, Matt Ryan went back to Julio Jones, this time for an 18-yard reception that made a first down on the 4. So on 1st and goal from the 4-yard line, they gave it to Steven Jackson. Touchdown, Falcons. So now the score was tied up at 7 apiece. And now with 7 minutes on the clock in the first, the Packers would start their second possession of this game on their own 20. They ended up getting backed up by some penalties. And actually, Aaron Rodgers was sacked on first down by Bierman. And so now, after a penalty, a false start penalty on 3rd down, it would be 3rd and 17 from the 13. And Aaron Rodgers went to Corliss for a 30-yard reception and a first down at the Green Bay 43. Rodgers then went to the no huddle and hit Jordy Nelson for an 11-yard reception that brought the ball across midfield into the Atlanta 46. Then on 2nd and 6 from the 42, out of the no huddle in the shotgun, Lacy got the ball and they ran it 10 yards for the first down to the 32. Still out of the no huddle, Aaron Rodgers went to Andrew Corliss for a 13-yard reception in the first down that brought the ball to the red zone on the Atlanta 19. Rodgers went back to Corliss for a 9-yard reception, and then a pass to Jordy Nelson lost a yard, and on 3rd and 2 from the 11, Rodgers went to Randall Cobb. He picked up the first down with a 4-yard reception that made it 1st and goal on the 7. And an incomplete pass brought up 2nd down from the 7. 2nd and goal, Aaron Rodgers went to Lowry. He fumbled, but it ended up being an unnecessary roughness call against Atlanta. And so the first quarter came to a close with the score still tied up at 7. And so now at the beginning of the second quarter, it would be 1st and goal on the 1 for the Packers after that unnecessary roughness call against the Falcons. And so now on 1st down, boom, Lacy punched it in from a yard out, touchdown, Packers. And so now the score was Green Bay 14, Atlanta 7. So now the Falcons had the ball with just about 10 seconds ticked off the clock in the second quarter. They would end up going 3 and out on this possession and punting it from their 38 to the Packers, who took over on their 16 with a little over 13 minutes left in the half. And on 1st down, James Starks ran for 21 yards in the first down that brought the ball to the 37. Then on 2nd and 6 from the Green Bay 41, Aaron Rodgers out of the no huddle hit Starks, and Starks took it for 12 yards in a first down across midfield to the Atlanta 47. They're then faced with a 3rd and 1 from the 38. They handed it off to John Kuhn. He picked up 4 yards in the first down to the Atlanta 34. Then on 2nd and 10 from the 34, out of the no huddle and shotgun, Aaron Rodgers dumped it off to Lacy, and he picked up 13 yards in the first down that brought the ball to the Atlanta 21. That's where their drive would end up meeting its end. And on 4th and 10 from the 21, out would come Mason Crosby to attempt a 38-yard field goal. It was up, it was good, and the Packers extended their lead to 10 points with the score: Green Bay 17, Atlanta 7. So now the Falcons would get the ball with a little over 7 minutes left in the first half. They had it on their own 20, and on 1st down, Matt Ryan hit Julio Jones for a 25-yard reception Now on 1st and 10 from the 45, they went to the no huddle. Matt Ryan dropped back and he was intercepted by Burnett, and he ran it back 32 yards. Morgan Burnett gave the Packers the ball now in the red zone to start this possession. It was 1st down on the 15 for Aaron Rodgers, and he ended up handing off to Randall Cobb on an end around, and he lost a yard. Then on 3rd and 5, after Rodgers actually went to Devontae Adams for a 6-yard pass on 2nd down, so now 3rd and 5 from the 10, out of the no huddle. Aaron Rodgers scrambles for the 1st down with a 9-yard run. The Packers take a timeout, and it's now 1st and goal on the 1 for Green Bay. And Aaron Rodgers dumps it to Eddie Lacy for the 1-yard touchdown pass. And the Green Bay Packers now led 24-7 over the Atlanta Falcons. So now the Falcons get the ball with about 4 minutes, a little bit over 4 minutes left before halftime. They had it on their own 12-yard line. They'd be faced with a 2nd and 3 from the 19, and Steven Jackson picked up the 1st down with a 3-yard run to the 22. Matt Ryan was then intercepted by Going, but then it ended up being reversed and ruled an incomplete pass. So then they would end up punting the ball, though, from the 22 a few plays later. So now the Green Bay Packers would take over at midfield on their own 47 with 2.5 minutes left in the 2nd quarter. They'd end up being faced with 2nd and 10 from the 47. Aaron Rodgers went to James Starks to pick up 14 yards and the 1st down that brought the ball across midfield and into Atlanta territory on the 39. Out of the no huddle in the shotgun, Aaron Rodgers then went to Randall Cobb. And here comes Randall with an 18-yard reception for a 1st down that brought the ball to the 21 and the game to the 2-minute warning. Then on 2nd and 5 from the 16, Aaron Rodgers found Jordy Nelson for a 6-yard pass in the 1st down that made it 1st and goal on the 10. Then on 3rd and goal from the 10 out of the no huddle, Aaron Rodgers finds Jordy Nelson for the 10-yard touchdown pass as the Green Bay Packers now led this game with the score Green Bay 31, Atlanta 7. Well, they extended their lead to 24 points. They led the whole time. Anyway, so now the Falcons, we get the ball on their own 20 to start their next possession with less than 30 seconds on the clock. But they were determined to get something going. Matt Ryan went to Julio Jones. He picked up 30 yards with the reception. Atlanta called their first timeout. There's 15 seconds left on the clock, and they were now on the 50-yard line. An incomplete pass brought up 2nd down, and Matt Ryan ran it 15 yards on a scramble. And that brought it to the Green Bay 35 with just 2 seconds on the clock. He got out of bounds, and here came Matt Bryant to attempt a 53-yard field goal and try to make it a 3-touchdown game as they were down by 24, trying to make it to 21 points, cut the lead. And what would happen? It was blocked! Jones with the block. And so the first half came to a close, and the score remained Green Bay 31, Atlanta 7. Let's not open up the 3rd quarter. The Falcons with the ball first. They start off on their own 18. And on 1st down, Matt Ryan dropped back to pass and he hit Julio Jones, who took it 79 yards all the way to the Green Bay 3. Just about the length of the field. And so now it's 1st and goal on the 3. But they were unable to get it into the end zone on the first 3 downs, and that would make it 4th and goal from the 5. And instead of electing to go for the field goal down by 24, they said, hey, let's go for the touchdown. We need 7. So out of the shotgun, Matt Ryan, and he hits Weems for the 5-yard touchdown. And now the Atlanta Falcons cut the lead to 17 with the score Green Bay 31, Atlanta 14. So now the Packers would take over with about 12.5 minutes left in the 3rd. They had it on their own 10, and on 1st down, Aaron Rodgers was sacked by Bierman. And there was a holding penalty even on the play. And so that would make it 1st and 20. On 2nd and 20 from the 10, Aaron Rodgers hit Lacy for a 13-yard pass, but it wasn't enough for the 1st down quite yet, and that made it 3rd down. An incomplete pass brought out the punting units. The Green Bay Packers would go 3 and out as the Falcons came up with a huge stop on defense. So now the Falcons would take over with less than 11 minutes left in the 3rd. They had it on their own 46 at midfield. Then on 2nd and 11 from the 45, Matt Ryan hit Douglas for a 9-yard pass, and a face mask penalty against Micah Hyde would make it a 1st down for the Falcons in Green Bay territory at the 31. They ended up with 3rd and 10 from the 31, and Matt Ryan was sacked by Clay Matthews. And so now it would be 4th and 11, and out would come Matt Bryant to attempt a 50-yard field goal. He missed that 53-yarder. It was blocked at the end of the first half, but here he was attempting a 50-yarder, and it was up, and it was good. The field goal made the score Green Bay 31, Atlanta 17, as they now trail by 14 points. So now the Packers took over on their own 23 with a little over 8 minutes on the clock in the third. They were faced with a 3rd and 3 from the 30, and Aaron Rodgers hit Randall Cobb for a 23-yard reception. So now it's first down in Atlanta territory on the 47 for the Packers. And Rodgers went to Jordy Nelson for a 28-yard reception and a first down that brought the ball to the red zone on the Atlanta 19. But then they would end up stalling on the 15, and out would come Mason Crosby to attempt the 33-yard field goal. It was up, it was good, and the Packers were back up by 17 with the score Green Bay 34, Atlanta 17. And so now the Falcons get the ball with less than 4 minutes left in the third. They head on their own 27 to begin the drive. And on 2nd and 1 from the 36, Rodgers ran for a 6-yard run and a first down for the Falcons. Then on 2nd and 10 from the 42, Ryan dumped it off to Rodgers. He picked up 14 yards in the first down. They brought the ball across midfield into the Green Bay 44. Then on 3rd and 1 from the 35, Steven Jackson ran for 2 yards and the first down on the final play of the third quarter. So after 3 quarters of play, the score was Green Bay 34, Atlanta 17. So now to open up the fourth quarter, it was 1st and 10 on the 33 for the Atlanta Falcons. And Freeman was dropped for a 2-yard loss by Barrington on first down. Then on 3rd and 6 from the 29, Matt Ryan went to Julio Jones. He picked up 12 yards in the first down that brought the ball to the 17. Then after a penalty against the offense for an illegal shift, it would be 1st and 15 on the Green Bay 22. Matt Ryan drops back and he hit Julio Jones for the 22-yard touchdown that made it a 10-point game with the score Green Bay 34, Atlanta 24. So now the Packers would take over with 12.5 minutes left on the clock in the fourth. And it was on the Green Bay 26 is where they would start their possession. And on 3rd and 9 from the 27, Aaron Rodgers hit Randall Cobb for a 13-yard reception that made it a first down on the Green Bay 40. And on first down, Aaron Rodgers dropped back to pack, and he hit Jordy Nelson in stride, and Jordy Nelson took it all the way to the house. 60-yard touchdown, Jordy Nelson, and Lambeau field goes crazy, and he leaps in the stands. Oh, my God. And now the score was Green Bay 40, Atlanta 24, as Green Bay ended up getting their extra point blocked. So it would be a 16-point lead for the Packers. So now with 10.5 minutes left in the game, the Falcons get the ball on their own 29, and Matt Ryan went to Julio Jones. He picked up 18 yards in the first down that brought the ball to the 47 of the Falcons for Atlanta. They were then faced with 4th and 4 from the Green Bay 47, and Matt Ryan found Julio Jones for a 19-yard reception. Now it was first down on the 28. These Falcons just wouldn't give up. So now on the 2nd and 6 on the 24, Matt Ryan scrambled for a first down with an 8-yard run that brought the ball into the red zone on the Green Bay 16. Then on 3rd and 6 from the 12, Matt Ryan hit Julio Jones for a 9-yard reception that made it 1st and goal on the 3. Steven Jackson picked up 2 yards and the Packers took a timeout. It was their second timeout of the second half. So now it was 2nd and goal on the 1. Matt Ryan out of the shotgun hits Roddy White for a 1-yard touchdown. They went for the 2-point conversion. It failed. And so it was a 10-point game once again with the score now Green Bay 40, Atlanta 30. So now the Packers had the ball with a little over 6 minutes left on the clock in regulation. It was on the Atlanta 41 because it was an onside kick attempt by the Falcons and the Packers recovered. So now they had the ball in Atlanta territory to start their drive, but they weren't able to get a first down, so out would come Mason Crosby on 4th and 4 from the 35 to attempt a 53-yard field goal. It was up, it was good, and the Green Bay Packers extended their lead to 13 with the score Green Bay 43, Atlanta 30. So now the Falcons will get the ball with 4.5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, down by 2 scores with the ball on their 34 to start their possession. And on 2nd and 10 from the 34, Matt Ryan hit Roddy White for a 29-yard reception that brought the ball across midfield into the Green Bay 37 for the first down. So now on first down, Matt Ryan with Steven Jackson. He picked up 17 yards and a first down at the Green Bay 20. The Packers took their final timeout. So now the Packers didn't have any timeouts left. And it was now going to be 2nd and 12 after a short 1-yard loss by the Falcons. And on 2nd and 11 from the 21, Rodgers picked up the first down with a 14-yard run for the Falcons. And now it was 1st and goal on the 7 for Atlanta. And on 2nd and goal from the 7, Steven Jackson picked up 5 yards. That would make it 3rd and goal. An incomplete pass would make it 4th and goal on the 2. Instead of going the field goal, because that would mean they still need 2 scores. And with only a little over 2 minutes left, they needed a touchdown. So they went to the shotgun, and Matt Ryan hit Douglas for a 2-yard touchdown. And it was now a 6-point game with the score Green Bay 43, Atlanta 37. So now the Packers got the ball with just over 2 minutes left on the clock in the 4th with a 6-point lead. So now they had on their 39. That was after another onside kick attempt by the Falcons. Jordy Nelson recovered it and just jumped down. He was bloop. And so now it was first down on the 39. Starks ran for 2 yards, and that brought the game to the 2-minute warning as the Packers were trying to just run this clock out with the lead. It was 2nd and 8 on the 41. And now Aaron Rodgers ended up running for a first down with a 12-yard run. And so now the Falcons took their first timeout. So now on first down from the 47 for the Packers, James Starks would run for 41 yards. And that just sealed the deal right there. As the Falcons, they had all their timeouts, and the Packers started this possession, and they had a 2-minute warning. They needed to stop from getting the first down. Aaron Rodgers still got that first down, and then Starks put the nails in the coffin with a 41-yard run. Falcons took their second timeout now. It was now 1st and goal on the 6 for the Packers. They could easily kick a field goal if they had to. Starks lost a yard on the next run. The Falcons took their final timeout. Starks then lost another couple yards, but then he picked back up those yards. And then they ended up getting a delay of game penalty, and they ended the game in the victory formation as Aaron Rodgers took a knee. This game came to a close, and the Packers hold on against a late comeback attempt by the Falcons in a game that the Packers had well in hand. They were blowing them out. Falcons made a late run at it. They made it interesting, but the final score, Green Bay 43, Atlanta 37. And with the win, the Packers are just the 4th team this season to reach double-digit victories, as they're now 10-3. They're just one of 2 teams in the NFC to have double-digit wins, as they're right there with the Cardinals, tied for the first seed. They're 7-0 in Lambeau Field at home this year. The Falcons are now 5-8. They're 2-5 on the road. They had a chance to take sole place of first place in the NFC South, but with the loss, they're still tied with the Saints, and that means the Panthers now just a half a game back in that NFC South. So how crazy is that? The Packers now, with that win, they remain in first place in the NFC North over the Lions by a game. But in this game, Aaron Rodgers was amazing. He was 24 for 36. He had 327 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. He also had 5 carries for 28 yards on the ground. Matt Ryan was 24 for 39 with 375 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, and 1 interception. He had 2 carries for 23 yards on the ground. The game's leading rusher was James Starks. He had 75 yards off of 10 carries, including a touchdown. Eddie Lacy had 73 yards off of 13 carries and a touchdown as well. Steven Jackson had 16 carries for 50 yards and a touchdown for the Falcons. The game's leading receiver was Julio Jones. Here comes Julio. And he had 11 receptions, 259 receiving yards, and a touchdown. Roddy White had 3 receptions and 42 yards for 1 touchdown to be their next receiver on the Falcons. But for the Green Bay Packers, Jordy Nelson, 8 receptions, 146 yards, not 1 but 2 touchdowns. Randall Cobb, 4 receptions, 58 yards. Corliss with 3 receptions for 52 yards. Lacy had 33 yards receiving off of 5 receptions to go along with his 73 yards rushing that I spoke of a moment ago, which gave Eddie Lacy over 100 total yards. Starks also had over 100 total yards with his 2 receptions for 26 yards to go along with his 75 yards rushing that I mentioned a moment ago. But the game's leading tackler was actually for the Falcons. So they were out there on defense enough, they had plenty of chances to tackle. Dwight Lowry had 13 tackles in this game. The leading tackler for the Packers was Morgan Burnett. He also had that interception, the only interception in this game, and he was the Packers' leading tackler. Barrington and Clinton Dix both had 7 tackles in the game. Clay Matthews had the Packers' only sack, and Bierman had the Falcons' only sack, Croy Bierman. So Monday Night Football, the Packers jump out to a big lead in the first half. They scored 24 unanswered points in the second quarter, winning the halftime up by 24 with the score 31-7. The Falcons made it interesting, but as it started to just kind of be back and forth, they came out and scored 10 points right in the third before the Packers got that field goal. Then the fourth quarter was back and forth. They said Falcon touchdown, Packers touchdown, Falcon touchdown, Packer field goal, Falcon touchdown. But the Packers just had such a huge lead that the Falcons were not able to dig themselves out of that hole. It's really the Packers, they dominated on offense, and in the second half they let the Falcons kind of climb back in it, but really a dominant performance by Green Bay. And the final score, Green Bay 43, Atlanta 37.